12 o'clock on the nose. I'm just going to go through some housekeeping before we introduce today's speaker. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join us on the webinar today. Just a few housekeeping items. Today's webinar is going to be about 45 minutes with some questions at the end. If you have any questions during the presentation, please put them into the chat box. Today's presentation does have a component of Mentimeter, so you'll be able to be interactive today. The code is going to be given at the beginning of the presentation, and we're going to be putting it in the chat box here soon. So you want to go to menti.com and log yourself in. Once we start the presentation, I would suggest that you put us in presentation mode. That way you'll see just the presenter and nothing else, and the screen. We are still doing our webinars every 2 weeks. The next topic is now posted on our website. It is Feng Shui Refining the Design with 5 Elements. We'll be recording today's webinar, and you can request the recording 48 hours after today's presentation is finished. Okay.
Actually, sorry, Noel. One question is sometimes has come on this one. Is it a CEU? But it is not a CEU event today.
But it can be a self-reporting. Self-reported. Thank you, Greg, for getting that out of me. Self-reported. That's correct. Okay, very good.
If someone has to listen to me for an hour, they should get something for it.
Yep. So for many of you who've been following our presentations, you've noticed that we have an international group of presenters. We've had them from London, across Canada, Los Angeles. Today's presenters out of New York. Is that right, Greg?
Today I'm in North Carolina, but yes.
Oh, today you're in North Carolina, but you're from New York. Very good. Greg is the Vice President of Global Workplace Insights for Technion Corporation, where he helps organizations use information to get better performance. He's a compelling facilitator. Greg speaks, advises, and creates immersive experiences in workplace strategy, workflow map, Lab 30, change management, innovation, and understanding generational differences. He's worked with many of the most dynamic corporations across the globe. So I'll hand it over to Greg. You can log into your Menti, and we'll get started here. Thanks very much.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see here. Find where this is. Sorry, my computer called up some unique things. How's that? You see, welcome to Telescope.
So we're good, Greg. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so very, very much. Hey, my name is Greg Decker. Let's talk about work. And in the next hour, I think you'll learn some neat things about what we've been seeing, but also how this might apply to your work world as well. You'll grab your phone or a tablet, any form of secondary device, go to menti.com and enter that code you see above, 47997080. You're actually not logging into anything. You're just going to that website, putting in the code, and that will connect you to the meeting. Once you get there, play with your phone, find one of those reaction icons. Yeah, put in a thumbs up, a heart. That'll also help me know that you're there. I have come to love Menti rather than using just regular Zoom. There's so much more engagement, which I think you'll like, and as a presenter, it's helpful too. There's another new feature on Menti, that little cloud. You can hit that and put in something custom. You can type something, pick a different emoticon. You can make that ghost up on the screen as well. Oh, see, amazing right off the bat. That feels so good. I'll tell you, it does. So just if you're new to Menti, you'll watch the slides on your computer just like always. Make that as big as you can, and you'll be able to see all the data and everything else and the visuals we're sharing. And then your phone is how you're going to engage at any time throughout the presentation. We'll have some breaks for questions, but there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to share your thoughts on it. So our goals for today, we'll share with you what we've been seeing in our research at Technion. We really kept our feet on the accelerator all winter and spring now as to what are we seeing with all the changes that are happening, and want to be able to share all of it with you. When we work with our customers, we hold like these insight conversations, which are a lot like this. We'll bring up some information, and then we'll have dialogue around it, and then give you a sense of what some next steps could be. It's going to flow like this. We're warming up right now. We'll get into the stuff that we've been seeing, what it could mean, and then opportunities for you next. But I want you to imagine something, that instead of meeting today on Zoom, helpful as Zoom has been, but let's say instead, you had all hopped on a plane and flew to this location. This is one of my favorite places to work anywhere in the world. It's the Technion Hub. It's our collaborative space. It's right on the front doorstep of the great city of Toronto. And love having meetings like this there, often in that space that you're seeing in this picture. So imagine you just flew in with everything going on in your family and your work life and all the rest. Someone says, beautiful, thank you for that. But you've just arrived. How are you feeling? If we gave you a choice of wristbands to pull on to signal to other people how you're doing with coronavirus, would you be pulling on the red one, the yellow, or the green? So head to your phone. There's your choices. Red, are you just straight up keeping your distance still? Are you green, you're all in? Or yellow, are you somewhere in between? How are you doing today? All right. Yeah, choice of 3 colors. Yes, of course, you could color code your own for something else unusual. Thank you. So 27 people in so far. Hey, but look at the spectrum here, right? Some people are feeling all in, some are very hesitant, and most of you happen to be in between. That's a great reminder that not everybody feels the same. And we're trying to accommodate everyone. And in the world of design, right? Design is not about averages, design is about individuals. And even the outliers and helping everybody feel comfortable. Let's imagine something further. That not only are we not on Zoom, we're back at the Toronto Technion Hub, and it's not today, it's next January, next February, right? It's something out in the future. Which wristband do you think you're going to be putting on in about a year? Pick a color, hit submit, and we'll see where you are. All right. So I'm going to flip back once. Here's today. Here's what you're guessing about 8 months from now. That remarkable shift, that change into the future is why none of our customers are hiring a director for plexiglass screens. Okay? We know that this is a blip, it's a moment of time, we're moving into the future, and that's what we're going to talk about and plan for. It's the shift for what's next. And so my name is Greg Decker. Let's dive in and really talk about the future of the workplace. So here's what you can plan on getting out of it. We'll share a couple of charts that I think that will be helpful for you and your customers from a point of empathy, the dip and the blip. And if you're wondering how to figure out a situation, pay attention to what's happening to people and what's happening to organizational cash flow. It's going to be trickier though. More flexibility is going to for sure be required, but focus on ideas, focus on possibilities, and then the design of the workplace will all take care of itself. So quick pause here. This is one of several sort of formal ask anything moments. Anything that you're curious about right now, or are you having any challenges with the Menti platform? Anything I can help you out with before we keep going? Couple cool things about this Menti platform. First, it's entirely anonymous. There's no way to know who's writing what, and that has really helped us get good information. What's the weather like? It's crazy sunny. Right now in North Carolina, anybody with a window ought to be outside. Everybody's feeling good so far. Love it. Okay, dynamite. Thank you, gang. Another thing that's cool about Menti is if you keep typing, even after I move forward, your thoughts are still collected for later. Nothing is missed. Here's, by the way, who we talked to. About 300 different sources. Yes, we have some really smart people inside of our company, but we reached out to our competitors and other groups and really drew from many, many sources, creating almost like a book, about 100 pages, super dense. You can see that from your screen. You're thinking maybe a couple things. One, aren't you glad we didn't do all 100 slides like this one today. But also this, if you want to deep dive with us into what some of these things mean or want to look into it further, ask. All you'd be doing is asking us to talk about our favorite topic, and we'd love to help you with it. But here's a simple chart that came from JLL, and I think really does show how people have been feeling this last year. Remember that a year ago? It was sort of fun at first. I got off a plane from Kuala Lumpur, and everyone was talking about COVID, and it was shocking. And the US and Canada about the same time went into a 2-week lockdown and thought, hey, this is kind of neat. Remember the first Zoom birthday party you went to and everyone's holding up a cocktail and cheers? And then do you remember your 14th? How about your 30th Zoom party? Kind of sucked. And that's how we're in this bit of a dip right now. We've been doing okay, getting our jobs done, but it's a bit of a rut. It's a trough, and we can start to see our way out. Focus on that sunny part on the right where we're looking forward. What is it going to mean? Is it going to be a roaring 20s? But either way, how do we get prepared for that? So there's the dip. Here's the blip. And we have found customer groups around the world really appreciate this. First, what it represents is the path that virtually all organizations were already on, a pathway moving from a very physical, co-located world to one that is increasingly digital and distributed. Any path that feels dark and unknown can be improved and be less scary from doing two things. Number one, realize that it's the path you were already on. And secondly, shine some light on it. And that's what we're doing. What COVID has done during this blip has accelerated things. We've tried new ways of working. We've tried new technologies. We've proven things. We've reduced stigmas on different ways of working. But we are right now all sitting at kind of this gold vertical bar that you see. And there's a little bit of a wait and see. And if you're feeling it, you're not alone. At Technion, we really haven't had any major projects cancel or anything like that. But there have been some rethinks and some delays because this is a perfect chance to strategize. Say, what are we trying to accomplish as an organization? And how can the workplace better support that? And that acceleration is exciting. Where I work, the department I lead is in this yellow area up on the right. It's Technion Workplace Insights, trying to bring a voice to the information and trends that we're seeing, and then bring your voice back to our manufacturing so that we're making and creating the right ideas and products for you. So observations, here's a bunch of what we're seeing. I'm going to give you some high points on it. So Leesman, if you don't know them, in just only 10 years, they've really become our industry's #1 provider and source for workplace analytics. Their survey's incredible. But here's what Tim Oldman had to say. He says, boards all around the world are really, truly talking about workplace. They're talking about architecture and all the things involved with it. And I can't express enough what a shift that is, because as a provider, I've been in this industry almost my whole life. And like we were always fighting for it. We're saying, hey, this is your #2 expense, pay attention. And now everyone is talking about it. And maybe you're even noticing this like at parties, people want to know what you do. And that's a first. So off we go, because we're realizing just how critical this is for all kinds of reasons. This is a great survey that came back from Gensler. But this was done last June. It has aged really well. The survey results are about the same here now, a year in. But look at the variety. There are people who are saying, I really don't want to be at home. And others are saying, this works for me all the time. But a cry out for an enormous amount of flexibility across the board. And so we can't design for averages. We need to be supporting all these people. What does that look like? It's more complex than it used to be. Have people liked working from home? Yeah. They enjoy not commuting early in the morning. They're saving money on gasoline and childcare, and they have more flexibility to be around their friends. And these things are important. These are human factors that matter, but these aren't really corporate objectives. And so the goal of blending what an organization needs with what people need, that's one of your $1 million questions going forward. So how do you feel about remote work? Go to your phones, put in some thoughts, pluses, minuses, what's on your mind? after a year of working primarily from anywhere. All right. So the more people who are submitting some thoughts, the more variety we're seeing here in our word cloud. This is one of the things that this software does really well. Creating a word cloud, which automatically makes things bigger and brighter if more people share the exact same idea. It gives us great visuals for communicating later during change planning, other things. Wanting connection, but feeling adjusted. It's too quiet, missing people. Other folks loving it. It's this interesting blended milieu of thoughts. And if you're continuing to type and push submit, for sure your thoughts will all get collected here. And at the end of this meeting, I'll be able to create a PDF of every single slide for you to look at again later. So, all right, so a wide variety of responses, and all of them important. If they weren't important to you, you wouldn't have sent them in, so thank you. Here's some statistics we're seeing from groups around the world. 52% of people say if they are working remotely, but other people are working together, they feel a bit left out. They don't feel like they've been treated equally in it. So we know that digital work has some challenges ahead of it yet for workplace equality on those kinds of things. Maybe you felt this next one. 84% of people working remotely believe that problem solving takes longer. And maybe you've noticed that too. I sure have. Things that used to be solved by walking past someone's desk, we try to get on each other's calendars. That takes 10 days. Then someone cancels, moves it, etc. It's just slowing things down. If you have someone, you know this in your own life, right? If you procrastinate for a minute, minutes lead to hours and days, and pretty soon, right, you're